I was born into a military family. My father was in the army. My father being an educationist, a soldier, and a disciplinarian for those that knew him. That was basically the background from which I started.
I would say I know him way back as an officer in the Nigerian Army, a very fine, dogged officer that was as straight as his father, late Major General Ndiomu, in blessed memory.
I drew my inspiration from many people around him who were equally military men. His close friend, like late General Babatunde Diagbon, General David Jemibeon. These were men who were very close to my late father. And if you know these generals, you would agree with me that they were equally very disciplined men. As a matter of fact, we also had the present Alake of Egbaland, Obaditotun Gbadebo, who was also a soldier before he became the Oba, the Alake of Egbaland. Was someone I was very close to, someone I looked up to, someone that I regarded also as a mentor. These were very smart, disciplined military officers in their days. I can say basically that eventually led me into the army.
In September 2022, Major General Barry Tariye Ndiomu, retired, was appointed as the interim administrator of the Presidential Amnesty Program. This appointment couldn't have come at a better time, as the Presidential Amnesty Program stood the risk of being shut down and was in dire need of resuscitation.
His 1 year in office, he has actually demonstrated capacity, competence, and effective management.
His leadership has made us more inclined to the virtues of planning. Now everything must be planned. Nothing happens by chance. If you don't plan, you would not be able to see it through.
Now, when I resumed here in PAP, the initial reports I got, when you ask simple questions like how many students are in the universities, what's the total expenditure on scholarships? Also, asking questions about the total number of ex-agitators on the program. It will surprise you to know that nobody had an idea. It was difficult to get an accurate figure.
Since his appointment, the interim administrator has reenacted reforms that have yielded efficient results with evidence.
We want to ensure that the database is sanitized.
Ndiomu came in and accepted to reinstate original beneficiaries that were shortchanged and delisted from the program without any proper reason that is acceptable.
Before now, you see people crowding their banks during month end. When you go to the bank, people are doing amnesty boys, so they are there again. People are scared to enter the bank. But now they get their pay direct, so we don't get that kind of crowdness in the bank.
So what I did immediately I resumed was to set up an audit to ascertain the total number, including capturing biodata of all these beneficiaries of the Amnesty Scholarship Scheme, the total number of students and where they are in each of the universities, the actual cost of the scholarship program. And you will not believe the reduction in the number and the savings to the Amnesty program subsequently.
Now we have data hygiene.
It has made a single BVM direct payment system for them. I think we now have some bit of peace.
Under the Barry Ndiomu administration, there is now an ecosystem created to raise and nurture more entrepreneurs within the region, and this has led to the establishment of the Presidential Amnesty Cooperative Society Limited, PACOSOL.
Presidential Amnesty Cooperative has 4 main trusts: providing of basic business opportunities for ex-agitators, providing of market information, and providing a mentorship structure which we call SME Clinic, where ex-agitators will have access to real-time support, one-on-one engagement, forums for capacity building, conversations around how to be able to become competitive in the marketplace. The 4th leg, linkages and provision of access to finance for small businesses.
We're offering loans, not grants, because again, it's very, very important to impute discipline, and you are only able to draw as much virtue on what you value.
So currently we have over 2,000 ex-agitators that have indicated interest. They apply for microfunding to support their businesses. The first set of that disbursement is already ongoing. Over 400 ex-agitators are already being supported with microfunding. This is the vision of the interim administrator, Major General Barry Tariye Ndiomu.
The cooperative scheme is not just limited to disbursement of funds to beneficiaries. We're looking at helping them set up business on a very large scale. For example, we have done our research, our market survey, we're collaborating with various financial institutions, and we're thinking about going into rice farms for the benefit of these ex-agitators. This is big business we're talking about. It requires enormous funds because the Niger Delta itself, from the studies carried out, is a natural habitat for rice growth. something like what you have in places like Indonesia, Malaysia, Vietnam. We're also looking at cassava and not just cultivating it, establishing the value chain, and all of these, we believe, improve the local economy across the Niger Delta. We're looking at cultivating, investing in oil palm, which has also been found to thrive very well in the Niger Delta, and so many other things.
The Presidential Amnesty Program over the years has moved from just being a welfare-focused program to empowering youths in Niger Delta within the aviation space. However, this project has suffered managerial challenges in the past, which has led to pilots and more not being able to complete their certification trainings and a conclusive deployment exercise. On the assumption of office, in less than a year, the interim administrator, Major General Barry Ndiomu, and his team had to critically look at sustainable ways to bring back hope to these men and women whose expectation was cut short.
Between 2011 and 2014, over 200 delegates were sponsored to the best flight schools on the planet. And I'm talking about in Fujairah in the UAE, CAE Oxford in England, Lufthansa in Germany. Along the line, a good number of them, for no fault of theirs, had their programs cut short. Why? Administrative and management changes. And if you understand that industry, if you lose time, you restart. By 2014, a good number of them were caught in that web, unable to complete or restart. Misery. Attempts had been made year after year. As a matter of fact, every CEO after then had tried, had looked into it, but it didn't look like there would be a headway. And the more the delay, the more it went bad.
Thanks to the Aviation Resuscitation Program, under this administration, 75 delegates, 35 cadet pilots, and 40 aircraft maintenance engineers have been shortlisted for recertification and relicensing courses in both local and foreign institutions.
And what that means is that even if the heavens were to fall as we speak, they will still go to school, recertify, get their licenses, and become industry relevant. It was a dead dream. Under his watch, that dream was resurrected. It's not enough to dream. You must have a leader who is willing to give wings to your dreams.
It is important to acknowledge that none of these achievements would have been possible without the support from relevant stakeholders across the Niger Delta region. From traditional rulers to government, both federal and state, agencies within the public and private sector, use of the Niger Delta.
We must understand that this program was established because of these beneficiaries that we are referring to, the so-called ex-agitators. And so whatever you are going to do must have their inputs. And the only way you can obtain their inputs is by engaging with them directly. And we have had a couple of stakeholder engagements across the Niger Delta region. And I had personally participated in these engagements.
He's reaching out to internal agencies.
Political leaders from general across the Niger Delta. I've also engaged with traditional leaders across the Niger Delta.
Let me start by congratulating the General for bringing us out here.
He initiated this idea of bringing stakeholders from the region and clergymen together.
Because these are the people these ex-agitators also look up to. And so if we do not engage them and get their buy-in into some of our activities, then we will not succeed in whatever we want to do. By the help of the traditional leaders and the elders across the Niger Delta, particularly Chief E.K. Clark, Ambassador Igali, and the rest of them.
When Ndiomu came on board, first we did not get the storyline clear. We actually thought he was coming to hurt us, unknowing to us, because information, they say, is power. Lately we had to go down to do our findings, and we have come to understand that the man meant well for the program.
As a reformer, an innovator, he came, he saw, and he felt that it is not going to go well.
Whether it is Barry that is there, they will always work with the opposition. Whether it is political opposition or appointment opposition, wherever you find opposition, you must immediately know that this is a matter of personal interest. It's not an interest for the good of the people that own the project.
You will agree with me that when policies are being made, not everybody will want to embrace the policies at that initial stage.
If you look at the Niger Delta Recovery Plan, there are 4 members of a developmental matrix. Because of the success rate of the PAP, everybody out there expects us to play the role of these 4 legs. It's a misconception.
PAP is not there to build roads. PAP is there to attend to a particular set of people.
What has happened over the years is that you had people who had no business with the amnesty program benefiting immensely from it, to the detriment of those for whom the program was created. And I felt that that was wrong.
Ndiomu came, took his time, first to offset most of those debts for over 7.5 billion naira debts.
I'm happy that he's sustaining that peace, that we are not going back to the quicks. We're not hearing those sounds of kidnap and all that again. I think he has also contributed to this oil theft coming down.
And in less than 1 year of his assumption as the Presidential Amnesty Interim Administrator, he was made the chairman of the Special Investigative Panel on Oil Theft and Losses due to his impactful work in the Niger Delta region.
The conception of this conference is part of the panel's strategy to obtain additional inputs, information and data on the subject matter.
He has been the one person who, out of the previous persons that have really brought the traditional rulers and others to such an enlightened forum on issues related to oil theft, which is the economic life oil of the country.
For us who are inside the program, the delegates, honestly, this man, Ndiomu, has done well in this 1 year period.
Major General Tariye Ndiomu is an innovator. He's a reformer.
When I look at these programs that he is talking about, they are programs that I will call on our people to encourage him to undertake.
I loved the fact that he has a clarity on what he wants the presidential amnesty to look like.
He's a judicious man. He's a disciplined man.
He has sanitized and repositioned the amnesty program to an enviable height by introducing so many programs that has never happened in the amnesty program.
He wants delegates within the program to be entrepreneurs, to be able to have resources to take care of themselves and meet the need of the society or their neighbors and their brothers by themselves and for themselves, to have the right to choose the quality of life they want.
This is what every one of us have been praying for. Someone that will come in, that will take charge and think outside the box. And that is exactly what we want.
I want to employ all of us, myself, my camp members, my co-beneficiaries from various camps and leaders, to please key into the agenda of Ndiomu. Support Ndiomu so that at the end of the day, we will all smile. What we are expecting from the amnesty in the region will come to pass. Development will come.
I will also call on the federal government to look at the ideas that the person who is there now is bringing about.
The federal government has been very timely in providing the monthly budgetary allocation to the amnesty program, in spite of, as you very well know, other competing interests and the downturn in our economic situation in Nigeria. So to that extent, the federal government has done very well.
Truly, in 1 year, the Presidential Amnesty Program, under the leadership of the Interim Administrator, Major General Barry Ndiomu retired, overcome and is thriving in achieving his objective in developing the young and promising minds of the Niger Delta region. The future of the Niger Delta region, and indeed Nigeria, looks promising with the driven leadership of Major General Barry Tariye Ndiomu retired at the helm of affairs at the Presidential Amnesty Program. The program stands as a great chance of being an example for other regional intervention schemes established across Nigeria.